Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network. What is going on, everybody? Somebody has a case of the Mondays. Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And, well, Bob's your uncle. Rants on the Street with Thomas Stevens. Shout out to my producer, Tyler Heavy T. Soto. Boom. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants on the Better Sports Network and Fantasy Alarm. That's at Better Network, at Fantasy Alarm, at all your favorite social media platforms. And welcome in all Swifties. We welcome all Swifties here on Monday Night Rants. I know Heavy T welcomes all Swifties. And we got to welcome, as always, Tyler Heavy T. Soto behind the glass, and as always, joining me later for some what say ye, Heavy T. I have some questions I want to ask him about what we saw yesterday in the NFL and about the games, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Bears. Pretty sure. So stay with us because it's going to be enlightening, if you will. And we have not one but two of the Monday Night Rants guillotine eulogies to give today. Another poor soul has been cut from the field and will no longer be a part of the league going forward. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, it's been an amazing ride so far. Stressful, but the Guillotine League, I think, is here to stay, and it is an amazing experience. I recommend next year everyone jump on in. Get in while you fit in. That Too Short would say. Well, it's been a lot of fun. I know everyone's having a blast doing it as well. We do have Monday Night Football going on right now. If your favorite color is yellow, then you have enjoyed the game because there's been a ton of penalties. It's been sloppy. We've already seen a Daniel Jones fumble, which resulted in a Geno Smith to DK Metcalf touchdown. So all you Metcalf owners try to chase points for your fantasy leagues or your DraftKings showdown or whatever you're doing tonight. That is 7-0 the Seahawks. Now, I'm not going to lie on this game. I actually saw where the spreads were going, where the public were going, and I just couldn't take the Seahawks. I couldn't. I think it closed at like -1.5 or -2, but I'm like 70% of the public is all over the Seahawks. Everyone picked Seahawks in the pregame, except for Scott Van Pelt, who went the Giants' way, and it's still close, 7-0. So I think the Giants are going to squeak this one out here. They're just going to keep it real close until the end, but it's been a really sloppy game. I did take the under on almost everything, on the points. I just knew this would be a sloppy type game. A lot here to take in when these two teams match up with each other, which seems to be on point here, right? So, also, by the way, shout out to Daniel Jones, who 1-12 record in his primetime starts and never won on Monday Night Football. So something had to give, right? Had to give. So there you go. However, the one thing I saw in the Giants' favor is even though the Seahawks have played really good offense throughout the first 3 weeks of the season, their defense have not been good. They've allowed 17 plays of 20 or more yards. That is 31st in the league. So I thought some big play potential here with Hyatt, maybe with getting the passing game going. Hasn't quite gone yet, but there's hope for there. So I did actually take the Giants and the money line going against the public. So hopefully that hits. But the under looks really good right now. So it's a balancing act, if you will. So hope you're enjoying the game and watching me along the way. But while you're watching the game and you're watching me or you're listening to me while you watch or you're watching me on a tablet, well, this is on ESPN and then you have your phone out. Well, you know what the time it is. Bettercast. That's right. I am playing Bettercast right now. I already got some points here. Moving up the leaderboard because I'm the one going under on everything, on all the props, like under of rushing yards for Kenneth Walker, under of Breida yards, under of Tyler Lockett yards. So I've been making my picks. A question just came in right there. There's a question. It says, will there be a made field goal in the first half? I'm going to say yes. There will be one. Try to get my 12 points. Enter it, and you see the chat once again, like every Monday, going absolutely bonkers, having a good time, watching my show, playing Bettercast, and of course, the Monday Night Football game. It is literally the generation of multi-screens. I literally have like 4 or 5 screens in front of me right now. It's crazy. This is where we're at. And every Sunday we got NASCAR. By the way, shout out to my boy, Ryan Blaney, for winning at Talladega yesterday. Give him everyone. As we get closer to the championship, I will bring on Matt Sells and talk a little NASCAR betting, because we've been hitting our bets on Grill vs. Grill. We had 2 great weeks in a row, so we're going to keep it going. Bring him on as NASCAR comes to a close, which will bring us to basketball. We do have some NBA talk tonight. We have some crazy trades that happened over the last week, so I will be talking about that. It was media day in the NBA today, and there was a few gems that came out of it that Heavy T and myself will also share with you as well. Now, I am, as always, playing bingo. It's for charity. We didn't hit last week. I know. But it's okay, because if I win this week, I'm doubling the amount of winnings for the Alzheimer's walk. That's right. Doubling down if I win. And I really like my lineup tonight. I've already hit a few, so I'm hoping to get that. And that's on Rival Fantasy, by the way, which we do the bingo. They're the only really player in town who has fantasy bingo. And it's the best way to play fantasy because it's bingo. And I freaking love bingo. We had this thing my parents are a member of a country club, and they have a Father's Day thing. It's a giant, there's like stuff for the kids and corn dogs, but they have a bingo, and I'm in there stamping away. You get to win prizes. I love it. Bingo is the greatest thing ever. And I will be going to Vegas in a few weeks, and I will be playing bingo. That's right. I will be the youngest man in the room. But that's joinrival.com/alarm to get up to $200 back match deposit. Plus, your first bingo card is free. So we're going to sweat that out tonight. That's Rival Fantasy. By the way, I did a few season-long leagues over there as well. Dominating. I'm in first place right now, undefeated in those season-long leagues. They do have last chance season-long if you still want to play. If you're if you're already 0-3, check out Rival Fantasy. Start a league with your friends. Maybe start week 4. Like when the bye weeks start happening next week, and just have some fun with it. It's free to play, and it's a lot of fun over there. And their platform is absolutely, and I mean stunning. So it's joinrival.com/alarm. Get your deposit with $200. Each bingo card is $1. So if you put in 200, you got 200 back. That's 400 bingo cards. What? It's insane. So there we go. All right. Heavy T, let's go. We're rolling on with tonight's Rant Lines. All right, so here's what's going on, right? And by the way, all and every Swiftie in the world is welcome to Monday Night Rants. I welcome all Swifties. I welcome Taylor Swift. I'm not a big fan of her music. I don't really listen to it, probably because I'm not a 14-year-old girl. That's how I feel, and that wasn't a dig at you, Heavy T. I don't want any bad blood. I had to. But bring it on, baby. Bring it on. By the way, last night, Sunday Night Football, man, was great, wasn't it? Wow, where else can you see Carrie Underwood opening for Taylor Swift? I hate my life. Anyways, Taylor Mania continues. That's right. That's all they could talk about last night. And if you, like me, got tired, and I mean absolutely exhausted, with Chris Collinsworth talking about Taylor Swift, I did put it on mute. I just couldn't with him anymore. First, he was comparing Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers. Then he was like, I don't know what Chris Collinsworth was on last night, but he was on something. It was not good. It used to be Joe Buck was my least favorite of all the, announcers. It's Chris Collinsworth. It was unbearable last night every time he spoke. I'm like, please just stop talking. But it ended up being a really good game, despite the fact that everyone only cared about Taylor Swift. And the Jets showed a little bit of something that they haven't showed since week 1. So it was good to see. And it drew 27 million viewers. That is Super Bowl viewership numbers for a week 4 Sunday night game. The Taylor Swift effect is real. Travis Kelce had like double the amount of followers in 24 hours. His jersey sales are going off the charts. And this is all publicity. I still don't think it's real. And Taylor Swift brought in like the entire cast ensemble of what would be her entire wedding party with her. The Blake Lively, Hugh Jackman. I saw Ryan Reynolds, I think. And yeah, and then the girl from Game of Thrones who's divorcing the Jonas brothers, she was there. Sophie Turner, yeah, and every three plays, a mention, a check in on the box and see what they're doing. Come the hell on. I hope it ends soon, please. It's going to, because knowing Taylor Swift, this is going to be a short-lived fling. It's history, folks. We pick people in fantasy football because of their of analytics and what they've done in the past, right? That's why we chose Christian McCaffrey number 1 this year, or Justin Jefferson, because we know what they can do and what they've done. We're basing everything based on what they've already done. Well, I'm basing this on what Taylor Swift has already done. And in a month from now, she will not be at any Chiefs games, and there's going to be a new song out, and it'll be number 1 on the charts. So there you go. There's my Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce prediction of the night. Hope you enjoy. But anyways, did you know this? Last night, speaking of the game, we'll get back in the actual football now. But again, all Swifties are welcome. Zach Wilson, and this is crazy. This is a real stat. This is absolutely, and I mean insane. Zach Wilson is the only quarterback ever in the history of the world. I know what you're thinking. I'm going to talk bad on Zach Wilson. He's the only quarterback ever in the history of the world to have fewer interceptions, with more completions, more passing yards, and touchdown passes in a game against Patrick Mahomes. That's right. Shout out. Zach Wilson did something no one else has ever done. Crazy. Patrick Mahomes did not have a good game last night. He started off strong. Travis Kelce did not have a good game last night. And literally, they squeaked that win out with some weird holding penalty calls, ghost penalties at the end. Are we worried about the Chiefs a little bit now? You know, bad loss, yeah, week 1 against Detroit, but Detroit looks like they could, go to the NFC Championship game this year, so I'm not, out on them. But then they're squeaking out these wins. Their defense has been playing stronger than they have in recent years, which is good because their offense is not putting up the same amount of stats. So I'm a little worried about the Chiefs. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I would be a little worried. Just not as well-oiled of a machine. And they're getting all this publicity, which is kind of masking the fact that they really haven't been playing great football. So we'll see how it all pans out in the end. They are the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. But it is what it is. You know what's this? Okay, I want to talk about this real quick. And they've nicknamed this the Philadelphia Eagles. They call it now the little 1-yard run that's unstoppable, where Jalen Hurts kind of gets behind the center and goes left, and the 3 guys behind him push him, and they get a yard every time, guaranteed. They nickname it the brotherly shove, which is a dad joke in its own. However, I saw 2 teams, including my Chargers, try it yesterday, failed. And tonight, the Giants tried it and failed as well. Maybe it's not as unstoppable as everyone thinks, but for some reason, when the Eagles do it, there's some leverage there, or they practice it. I don't know what it is. They're just better at it. When the Eagles do it, it's unstoppable, but I've seen 3 or 4 teams over the last week on 4th and 1 turn the ball over on downs trying to do that play. It's almost like the quarterback doesn't know where to go. Do I go over the center? Do I go in here? The Justin Herbert one yesterday was bad. The Daniel Jones one tonight was laughable. So it's the brotherly shove, but it's not as unstoppable as I thought, because here we are. So hopefully they don't try it again, because Daniel Jones did not know what to do with it. You're supposed to get under and leverage to get in. He just tried to go over, and they pushed him, and he just hit the linebacker and lost a yard, actually. He lost yardage. How? Anyways, it's insane. All right, some quick takes over the NFL weekend before we go up into some NFL injuries. I'm just going to say this quick and fast. The Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland, of Los Angeles, of Oakland, they're thugs. They're a thug team. They're out there yesterday, a lot of emotion. I understand in the first half you're getting killed. That's what the Chargers do. They destroy you in the first half and let you come right back in. Right? Come on back, guys. I'm not done playing yet. I want to play with you still. That's what they do. And then they lose. But they've been better at it recently. All 4 Chargers games have been a sweat and a half. And this one was as well. It should have been. Khalil Mack had 6 sacks. One more, he would have had the record. Or tie the record. But still. But the Raiders defense was out there headhunting. One of them got ejected for the late hit helmet-to-helmet on Justin Herbert. And then Justin Herbert throws a bad interception, which was one of his worst interceptions I've ever seen him throw. One defender literally takes out Keenan Allen helmet-to-helmet, which they didn't call that one. And then another one runs by Herbert. Herbert tries to take him on because Herbert's a baller. And then straight up, like, I think not purposely, but looks a little bit purposely. He stepped on his hand. And from what we hear, and luckily, by the way, the Chargers do have a bye next week. And he came back in the game, and he had what looked like, remember the 80s when Nintendo tried to release that power glove for Nintendo? It looked like he was wearing a power glove on his left hand. But luckily, he's right-handed and threw a dime to Joshua Palmer to just put it on ice. But still, it looks like his nail, they're saying his fingernail came off. It was nasty, and he broke it a little bit, his middle finger. Not a bad break, but it was in a splint, and he had stuff, it was bleeding. But like I said, he won't miss any time. They have a bye. He'll be back. But the Raiders were out there headhunting. Their emotions were getting way to the top of them. Josh McDaniels can't keep his team under control. He just can't. And even after Aiden McConnell literally played for a rookie coming in like that, not even a high prospect rookie, and playing as good as he did to bring their team back, in the press conference afterwards, he was saying, well, he used to work on this. He was just no pride, no nothing from McDaniels. And he also made another dumb decision again, but I don't want to go over Raiders slander because we still got to talk about the Bears later. For the most part, all I saw was a bunch of thugs trying to headhunt and sore losers. But once they got back in the game, it kind of quieted down. So we'll see. The Raiders doing Raiders things, right? Is the Buffalo Bills the best team in the NFL now? One could argue they are. One could argue the San Francisco 49ers. I could argue that the Buffalo Bills are the best team in the AFC. Remember, I have the Bills and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. After losing to the Jets week 1, the Bills the last 3 weeks are the only team to absolutely, and I mean absolutely, obliterate opponents. They crushed the Raiders, crushed the Commanders, and they're like, well, that's the Raiders or the Commanders. Well, everyone's favorite darlings, the Dolphins, who they had pegged in winning the Super Bowl last week, got crushed by the Bills. Defensively, offensively, special teams, the Bills just straight up dominated that game. They had an answer for everything. They had an answer for Tua. The only person they didn't have an answer for, which no one does, is Achane. I think the Bills are still the best team in the AFC. I wouldn't say NFL because I think the 49ers are the best overall team in the NFL. And there's a question later when I say, what say ye, Heavy T? I really want to ask him about a certain player's chances of winning the MVP. We'll save that for later. So, impressive by the Bills. Really impressive. And the Dolphins, we'll see what happens, but the Bills now have the straight line to win that division and maybe even a first-round bye. Because there's, no more undefeated teams in the AFC. They're the cream of the crop, in my eyes. The Eagles are 4-0. Something is wrong with the Eagles. They're not last year's Eagles. They're squeakily winning games that they should win by a lot. That game yesterday, the Eagles should have won by a lot. And they probably should have lost. But one certain head coach, who has the dumbest nicknames of all time, failed his team yesterday. And more on that in case of the Mondays. However, I don't like what I'm seeing from the Eagles this year. They're not the high-flying offense. Like, they're always slow. They're really slow off the gate. All 4 games, they've been slow. And when they take a lead, they always let the other team back in. This is supposed to be a really stout defensive unit. Half of them are from Georgia. So I don't like what I see. I'm a little worried that maybe they split with Dallas. They could throw some games somewhere, and next thing you know, Dallas is in first place in that division. Dallas looked great. Yes, they slipped up against Arizona, but yesterday Dallas looked like the same Dallas team from week 1 and week 2. So I look at it like the Eagles and the Chiefs, the 2 teams last year in the Super Bowl, even though they're winning games, they're not doing it with the same conviction that they did in the past. It's a little scary, and I think a new team this year emerges. I think there's going to be 2 new teams in the Super Bowl this year. Sorry, Chiefs fans. Sorry, Swifties. Welcome, though. There you go. There's something really wrong with the Bengals, and I'm not even going to go there. They need to put Joe Burrow on the IR and get that figured out. They should have done it week 1. If they would have done it week 1, they'd have been, 0-4 at worst, and then he'd be back next week. Well, guess what? They're 1-3. There you go. And now T. Higgins is going to be out. But real rundown of, I'll talk about T. Higgins here shortly. Some big injuries yesterday. Speaking of T. Higgins. Obviously, we talked about Justin Herbert. Watson, surprisingly missing the game. I'm pretty sure he'll be back. The Dorian Thompson-Robinson thing, it's not going to work out. Hate to tell you. Watson should be back after the bye because they have a week 5 bye as well with the Chargers. Matthew Stafford hurt his hip in the game. That was a great game, by the way. Kyren Williams is the real deal for fantasy. I'm really surprised, but Cam Akers had his shot and blew it again. 2 years now, right? But Kyren Williams is the man there, and more on him later when we talk about surprising fantasy performances, but he's up there. Definitely. But Matthew Stafford should be fine. The Kenny Pickett injury with his knee, not like he was doing anything anyways. In comes Mitch Trubisky, and it just looks like an older Kenny Pickett, if that makes sense. So they say that Kenny Pickett will be okay. He will be back. It was just a bone bruise in his knee. So good news there. We'll talk more on the Steelers and stuff when I have Thomas Stevens on for Rants on the Street after the next break. The Javonte Williams injury was really concerning. This is a guy who has all the talent in the world, just can't stay healthy. He made it to the field. I actually had him in my DFS lineups because I thought he was safe, but as a hip injury, a hip flexor, so he's not expected to miss much time, but he missed the rest of the game, and that was not good. Devontae Adams, he hurt his shoulder. It looked bad, almost like a broken collarbone, but he was able to come back in the game, and it looked like there's nothing to see there because he was great the rest of the game. T. Higgins, we talked about. He is going to miss. It's a rib fracture. He is going to miss a few weeks. So go get your Tyler Boyd shares where you can. Well, that's if, Burrow can throw the ball. This is probably the biggest one and a surprising one. Was Mike Evans has been off to a great start with Baker Mayfield under center. It looks like it is a hamstring injury. He was trying to come back. He was having a solid game before the injury happened in the first half. Now, they also have that bye week in week 5. They're the third team. So that's good news because there's a chance with the extra week that Mike Evans will be back in week 6. So luckily, these injuries that happened to teams who have bye weeks next week, which is crazy. So hopefully they all come back and join the party, if you will, in week 6. Okay, NBA. We're going to talk about some NBA real quick. I still have a lot to do. I know I'm running low on time, but we're going to go. The Dame Lillard trade. Obviously, he was traded to the Bucks. The Blazers got Drew Holiday in return. DeAndre Ayton, who won out of Phoenix. Congratulations, you get to go to Portland. In a 3-team trade. So what do I feel about this? Is this a super team? No, because you lost Drew Holiday, right? So you're still rolling with Dame and Giannis. But Drew Holiday was literally one of the most underappreciated, like great player no one's talking about over the last few years that I think is crazy. So he obviously goes to Portland. They also got Malcolm Brogdon as well, and they got Tumani Kamara, who will be in the G League. Now, Phoenix, by getting rid of DeAndre Ayton, who, by the way, at media day today, Ayton's great, right? He's playing it like, yeah, this is his opportunity. He's gonna go big. He's gonna go big. But wait till I tell you about the next trade that the Portland did. That kind of ruined their chances. But anyways, Phoenix got Nurkic, which is a great pickup. Grayson Allen, which is Nasir Little, who I like, a great defender, a great off-the-ball defender, and Keon Johnson. So Phoenix is building depth, which what I've been saying since last year. They need that depth. They got it. So kudos to them. And they got rid of their cancer, which was DeAndre Ayton. So there you go. So now we have Drew Holiday here on Portland. In comes the Celtics. Drew Holiday goes to the Celtics. So they get him in the trade, traded right to the Celtics, and they get Malcolm Brogdon like we talked about. And the biggest pickup right here, Robert Williams III. His nickname is literally, and this is one of the greatest nicknames in all of sports, his nickname is Stat Lord. Because when he plays minutes, he puts up stats, and he's great for fantasy. The problem is he has shoulder injuries all the time. But he's a really, really good player that Portland needs to shore up that backcourt. Now, and he's young still. So now Portland's actually building a young team. They got Dame away, and here's everything they got right here. DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, Brogdon, Kamara, and all these picks. A Golden State first round. A 2029, if I'm still around then. First round. 2029, Milwaukee first round. 2028, pick swap, so we'll see what that is, and 30 as well. So these picks won't be relevant for a while, but from losing Dame and getting the guy they wanted in the draft, which I think was one of the best players in the draft, who's literally Dame, a replacement directly. You actually have depth here in the front court, which they really needed the last few years. That's one of the things Dame hated. And ultimately, I think the Blazers won. The Blazers won this trade. They did. And they're going to be a tough. Let's got breaking news here. Might not rant, so we're talking about the NBA. But Drew Lock is in at quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks right now. Not sure why, because obviously I've been giving you the NBA news. But yes, Drew Lock is in at quarterback. I just showed Gino on the sideline. It looked like he was stretching out something. I don't think he's really injured. But yeah, Heavy T, if you know any news about what the injury is, because they just showed him on the sideline like stretching something out. So it didn't look like he's going to be out. But you never know if it's a concussion or anything. But Geno Smith out. Drew Lock in at quarterback in the 7-3 game here. And how funny would it be if Drew Lock comes in, dominates, and takes Smith's job? I said it out loud, didn't I? Well, there you go. As I mentioned, today was media day in NBA, and a few funny things that I saw. The Lakers had their media day, and everyone loves Austin Reeves. His story is great. Austin Reeves' story is absolutely fantastic, but this was the funniest thing I saw today. This is how I feel when I play my career on NBA 2K. That is Austin Reeves in the middle with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And that is 100%, 110%, absolutely hilarious. So there you go. Shout out to Austin Reeves, though. I have my dynasty. He's actually putting up numbers and a great basketball player, but that does look like when you make your own character and place him on the Lakers next to LeBron. That is pretty hilarious. It got even better or weirder or sadder, if you will, depending on how you want to look at it. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Emo Jimmy Butler. What is going on here, Jimmy? What is this? Looking like he's listening to Thrice in 2003. What is going on here? He's listening to Take You Back Sunday Looking like you watched The Crow way too many times. What is going? I call this. Remember when they had the emo thing and it went like over their eye, like kind of like this is. I always call that. I thought it was the funniest thing, and maybe it was too much of a dad joke for everyone, but I call it the backwards flock of seagulls. Yeah, I laughed. I don't know what he's doing, but I really hope that when we start here this month, the first Heat game, he comes out on the court as presented here. I think it'll be hilarious. And every time he's on the free throw line and he makes a free throw, I really want him to throw his hair up like this. And then because it'd be hilarious. Ladies and gentlemen, Emo Jimmy Butler. By the way, that is not a Photoshop. That is exactly how Jimmy Butler eat world. That's an air horn. Shout out to Heavy T for that one. That's great. Jimmy Butler eat world. We're going to have to hashtag 2023 here. All right, real quick. I know we're running late. I'm just going to do playoff brackets. The NBA, not NBA, sorry, for the MLB. And my predictions here real quick before we go to break. And then we have Rant on the Street with Thomas Stevens. And I'm going to ask him about who he thinks he's going to be in the World Series. And later when Heavy T is on for What Say Ye, Heavy T, we will ask him what he thinks. I'm sure Heavy T's will be a lot different than mine. And Thomas, I think, will be on kind of the same page as me. So we'll see. A weird year in Major League. There's no Yankees. I thought Seattle was sneaking. They did not. Shout out to King Griffey Jr., by the way. Texas is in this. The Twins. The Orioles are overall number 1 seed in the AL, which is insane. I didn't think Miami would have a chance. Milwaukee, but they're going to be without Woodruff. But they have an easier matchup against the Diamondbacks. So the way I look at this is this. I'm going to run through it. I think Heavy T is going to show it here. Okay, here you go. You can do it this way. Cool. All right. I think that the Rays take care of the Rangers, and I think it's not even close. I think it's 2 games. I think they're done. Like, I'm really high on this Rays team. I have been all year. I think that's the way the cookie crumbles there. I like the Blue Jays. I really like the Blue Jays to upset the Twins. I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be 3 games. It's going to go the distance, and I like the Blue Jays to squeak by. From there, I have to say this. I am not on the Orioles. They're still really young. Their pitching is not great. They had one of the best closers in baseball. But when I look at just overall lineup depth, pitching, end of rotation, everything you need, I got the Rays. I really have the Rays knocking out the number 1 Orioles. But this won't be the first time you hear from the Orioles. They're just young. I like the Rays. The Astros scare me because they're pitching. They're injured. I do like the Blue Jays offense a lot, but I think this goes 3 as well. But I think the Astros win and goes there. Okay. I got the Rays. I think the Rays are going to the World Series this year. Everyone's excited. The team has been one of the most dominant teams all year. The Astros have been up and down. They almost missed out on the playoffs entirely. And I really think this Rays team is destined to be here in the World Series. However, they're going to lose the World Series to this team. More on that later. No, just kidding. Phillies and Marlins. I'm going to go ahead and put this could actually go either way. The Phillies, Aaron Nola has not been the pitcher we thought he was going to be this year. But Wheeler's been fantastic. But Phillies have the better offense. But Miami just keeps on finding ways to win, surprisingly. However, I think it stops here. I go Phillies. And this one's going to be interesting. No Woodruff for Milwaukee. He's not going to make the series. The offense for Milwaukee is boring. I think Corbin Carroll does some amazing things to show people on the national stage why he's going to win Rookie of the Year, by the way. Why he's the man, and I love him. I'm saying Diamondbacks upset the Brewers. And then we have the Diamondbacks-Dodgers series. Now, this one is also interesting. And it's just the Dodgers have a way to... Well, last year they lost this to the Padres, right? Same type of... It was a 6-1 matchup. Or no, it was 6-2 last year. So will they have the hurt of last year losing to a NL West opponent in this division and not moving on to go play for the NLCS? I don't think so. I think there's motivation there. And like the Orioles, the Diamondbacks aren't quite ready for the stage. I say the Dodgers go through. And I'm not even going to question this. The best team in baseball all year with the best player in baseball maybe we've ever seen. Sorry, Heavy T. It's not Ohtani this time. But I'm going to have the Braves moving on in a sweep over the Phillies. And the Dodgers cannot beat the Braves in playoffs. They cannot beat the Braves in playoffs. They just can't. And this is a Braves team with a mission. Their mission is to win. Braves beat the Dodgers. And Dodgers will have an interesting offseason with Ohtani's going to be on the table. We'll see where Juan Soto's going to do. So interesting there. This is what I've had. Rays, Braves. Because I like to Dr. Seuss it sometimes. And I love the Rays. I think they're a great team. I think they could go all the way to the World Series. But this is just the Braves year. MVP of the World Series. Probably 5 games, maybe 6 at most, is going to be Acuna. And the Braves are your World Series champions, everybody. There you go. That's my predictions for the 2023 World MLB playoffs. There you go. Yeah, save that thing and let's see how bad I am. No. And we'll see what Thomas Stevens says. I'll ask him who his teams are in the World Series, and I'll ask Heavy T later because it is that time of year. Drew Lock is still in right now, so I'm not sure what's going on with Geno Smith, but not good for my Dynasty 2 quarterback league where I have Geno Smith, and I think I was down by like 20 points. So it's an ankle injury. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Hey, Heavy T, he was not on the cover. He's not on the show cover tonight. I put Kenneth Walker. So it's not a curse. However, every Monday, there's always a big fantasy injury here. All right, that was Rent Lines. That was everything. Oh, and all sports. We got hockey coming up too. I don't know a lot about hockey, but I do know that I know someone who does, and I'm going to bring him on. That would be, of course, Adam Bernard, who's been on before. We'll talk some hockey in probably next week or so before the season starts and have some fun with that too. I want to ask him about the betting angle because I really want to get into betting hockey, but know what I'm doing because I mean it's great. Like I like betting sports, but I want to be able to know what I'm doing. So we'll see if he can come on and we'll have some fun with that as well. So after the break, my boy Thomas Stevens is back from the happiest place on earth once again, and we are going to talk 5 questions you asked on Instagram and on TikTok about what's going on. I'm sure there's going to be some NBA now because we are close to the NBA season, some NFL, and maybe some baseball. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what the questions are. Maybe some UFC. You never know. After the break, Rants on the Street, Thomas Stevens. Boom.
Jake Ferguson, I think, is going to be one of the biggest frauds in fantasy, to be honest. I'm trading Jake Ferguson in Dynasty for anything right now. I'm trading him in redraft if somebody will take him. He scored the touchdown on a 1-yard play this week, but this guy, last week, he played 75% of the snaps, only ran 50% of the routes. This week, we were hoping that would change. He only ran 21 of 43. Not even half again. So we were hoping he would improve from 50, worse than 50. So Jake Ferguson, not the guy we want. And you saw it. I mean, if you watch the game, they weren't locked in on anybody. They had Hayden Hendershot out there, got a goal line carry. Luke Schoonmaker, the rookie, scored a touchdown. Like, they are not committed to just one tight end. And if you have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Brandon Cooks and Tony Pollard, if the tight end isn't playing every single snap, then he's not relevant. I mean, even if the one guy was playing every snap, you're not going to get a Dalton Schultz because there was no Brandon Cooks last year, and Michael Gallup was coming off an ACL. So the conditions changed, and now this guy's playing a partial snap share. Sell Jake Ferguson now. And people tell me, oh, Dak Prescott loves throwing to the tight end. That's not even true. There was a guy on Reddit that just posted a study. His name is, I call cats or something like that. Great study, though, that showed that Dak Prescott doesn't target the tight end on an above average level. I mean, CeeDee Lamb got 156 targets last year. 156. And Michael Gallup and Noah Brown combined for 150. So, and the running backs combined for 85. So what is it? Does he love the tight end, but he also loves CeeDee Lamb, and he also loves the other wide receivers, and he also loves the running backs? Or just Kellen Moore just throw the ball a ton? That's what it was, right? So it's like this whole he loves the tight end situation, that's not even true. Right? Or he just loves everybody. Maybe he does love the tight end, but clearly he loves CeeDee Lamb. No? Clearly he loves the running backs. So just don't worry about it. Forget about it. Trade Jake Ferguson for whatever you can get right now.
What is going on, everybody? Drew Lock, no problem. A touchdown run by Kenneth Walker, as I said his name, in the game currently. So it's 14-3 Seahawks, and Kenneth Walker has 3 carries for 0 yards, but luckily a touchdown. I know, which everyone was saying that he would be dominant tonight, but I don't know, looking rough here, especially if Geno does not return. But we'll keep an eye on that. And the Giants, if no Geno and Drew Lock, and you can't get into this game, it's over. Anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome back after a week off. Thomas Stevens, what's going on, my friend?
Nothing much, man. Yeah. Just chilling, watching sports this weekend. No UFC. Team got dominated. Didn't do too well in DFS, but we've had a good couple weeks of football. So you can't win them all. It was rough. But I'm doing all right. We had a Kenneth Walker anytime touchdown prop. That's shit right now. So that's always nice. And
there you go. Got to have that.
Like Heavy T said, Phil Nevin got fired, so I will put a smile on my face for that.
I didn't get a chance to talk about the firings and everything in MLB because I was running late, but I was going to ask Heavy T about that later. But yeah, that's is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, I think it's a good thing. Baseball's never. I never talk too much about baseball because I don't know too much about it. I know Heavy T will probably go into real detail about it, but I think it's a good thing. I never really liked the move in the first place. Our player development is absolutely horrible. The team, they don't get anything better. So I think it's a good thing. You can't get any worse. That's what I think. So
speaking of can't get any worse too, besides that, how do you feel about your Pittsburgh Steelers performance yesterday? I have to ask. Kenny Pickett looks like he's going to be okay. It's just he'll be back. But
bone bruiser.
Literally, it just looked like no chains between him and Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky is the top 5 Bears quarterback of all time. So there's that. Kind of disappointing. They were in a good spot to strive and
yeah, man, they were for sure. I remember saying earlier in the week, to a couple of my buddies, I was like, I like us against the Texans, man. I think I gave us a little bit too much credit, I think, coming off the win, in Vegas, and I thought we were going to be better. Our defense is always solid, and it wasn't. And so that was one of the biggest things. But, for me, the defense is going to break eventually. When they're out there for as long as they are, it's so hard to have a successful game plan when your defense is out there, the whole entire game. And CJ Stroud picked us apart. I forget. I'm completely blanking on what that coach over there is in Houston. DeMeco Ryans out-coached us completely. Props to him. He looks great on that, with that team. And then on the offensive end, it's the same story that we've seen the whole season. I mean, it's just absolutely horrible play calling. Kenny Pickett looks below average. The reads are not there. The offensive line looks horrible. Najee, broke through a couple, and I'm glad to see that because it's huge with the offensive line that we have. But it's disappointing, man. It really is. And it's I don't know. I know, we're such a loyal fan base loyal organization. And, we like to hire within the organization, not really cut people loose. But, I saw a stat today, and it's like we're the only team since 2021, since he's been hired, that does not have a 400-yard game. I mean, and that blows my mind. That's insane, and when you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think of, old-fashioned football, and that's fine, and it works, and run the ball, stop the run. And since 2021, I've seen none of that, and so it's disappointing, man. And I think, if there's not changes this week, we're going to have a lot of trouble against the Baltimore Ravens prime time or whatever it is. So
yeah, it's going to be rough, but he did come out. Tomlin came out and said that they're making changes. So
yeah, so hopefully
we'll see what that entails. But it needs to be something.
Yeah, it's got to.
Anything is better than nothing because they looked really great in the preseason, their first string offense. And then all of a sudden they just laid a straight,
just falls apart for sure.
Yeah, Robin laid an egg. Like, the Batmobile lost his wheel and the Joker's on his way. So there you go. That's an old classic for everyone out there.
I will say, I think that is a later question we have. So we should talk about fear.
Okay. Sorry. Sure. Okay.
Just remember that.
All right. Well, let's get on with it then. Rants on the street.
Yeah, let's do it. Give me 1 second. All right. We're all NFL except for we do have one NBA question. I saved it for the last. So we know
Fair.
coming back up. We'll use it. Number one. The world wants to know what happens with Puka Nacua once Cooper Kupp returns.
I think Puka will be fine. I mean, he's putting up gaudy numbers as it is. You can't expect that every week.
Uh-huh.
We got a trade question. We'll get into that, Jack, after I answer this question. Puka is still going to put up numbers. He's still going to get 5-6 receptions at least. I think it's the Tutu Atwells, the Van Jeffersons that kind of go away.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we're looking at, remember, this is a Rams offense who lived, and you were taking 2 receivers for this team, top 20.
Mm-hmm.
With Robert Woods was at his prime. Like you were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason why they can't do it again. So I think Puka's going to be a stud the rest of the way, even with Kupp comes back. I think Kupp's not going to be as good as he was last year before he got hurt, or the year before where he set like Jerry Rice standard of of
insane numbers
fantasy. But I think they're going to work together and be the end of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Starting from when Kupp comes back, because we don't even know if he's going to come back next week or if he stays longer. But I think the rest of the way, you got to look at 2 players will be in the top, I'd say 15 of fantasy production going forward.
I agree. I don't see why not. I look at it kind of as a rookie year kind of Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster thing going on, where you have such a dominant wide receiver on the other end who's still going to put up great numbers. But honestly, with Puka putting up the numbers he is right now, he's the one getting the attention. So when Cooper Kupp comes back, and now you're not doubling Puka, you're not having the safety over the top with Puka. So now it really is just one-on-one coverage for Puka. And I mean,
he looks big too, and fast, and and he doesn't drop. He doesn't drop the ball.
Yeah. So and like you said too, I mean, their history with developing these wide receivers and turning them into stars, man. Honestly, they can do it once again. Stafford looks good. Sean McVay is an offensive genius, and so. I think Cooper Kupp doesn't affect it too much. I think they work very well off each other, and like you just said, I think you can have a great duo in Kupp and Puka fantasy-wise. So
love it. And typical Giants right now just ran into the kicker after getting a punt. And Jack asks, should I trade Rachaad White and Thielen for Sutton and Mostert? I'm going to be honest with this. If it was a dynasty, well, wait, you're going to trade White and Thielen, and you're going to get back Sutton and Mostert. I think Mostert's not going to be, and we saw it this week already, that he will not be, Achane will be the number one there soon. And you're going to lose production, and Mostert's never played a single season all the way through. He's always hurt. It's only a matter of time. And he is explosive, and he is up there in TD production so far. But Rachaad White, on the other hand, is going to be every week, everything, all carries, all receptions out of the backfield. Nobody is there to compete with him. And he's put up, not Mostert numbers, but Mostert only had 5 points yesterday. But he's put up solid production all 4 weeks so far. And as far as Baker is looking, which is good, then I think the production is there. And I wouldn't do that trade. Now, Thielen, on the other hand, versus Sutton, what the heck are the Denver Broncos? I don't know. And Russell Wilson is spreading the ball around to like more receivers than I could even think you could even roster on a team. So nobody's getting all the targets. And you got Judy there, and you got, Brandon Williams or whatever his name is, he showed up out of nowhere, and this other guy and some tight end named like Mike Hurts or something. I don't even know. Like, there's random people out of nowhere catching balls. They're spreading the ball around. So I don't like Sutton, where Thielen, all the targets is going to go through him because they literally have no other player that can catch the ball on that team. So I actually, now the average person would say, do the trade right now. Get Mostert, get Sutton because of names, right? But looking at it for the rest of the season, what Achane is doing, the way that Rachaad White's going to dominate the backfield touches and Mostert will not, and that Thielen will dominate the targets and Sutton will not the rest of the way, I would not do that trade.
I agree. 100%. Yeah. I think you kind of, if you had moisture, I think you already got the best out of him for sure. So
Yeah.
that definitely would keep it season long.
All right. So there you go, Jack. Stay up put, my friend. Stay up put.
Trade advice.
Yeah. All right. So what we got here? Let's move on. Number 2.
Number 2, I'm gonna kind of switch around 3 and 4 so we can kind of stay in the same game and be similar. But number 2, I touched on it a tiny bit when you asked me, but CJ Stroud, man, the real deal in your eyes. Any more questions or anything like that?
What else do I have to say? I've been saying it since. I mean, do I have to say anything else? If you're new to the show,
totally before the draft,
I said before the draft that CJ Stroud is the best quarterback in this draft. He'll end up having the best NFL career, and here we are. And it looks like, to be honest, it's going to go Stroud, Richardson, Bryce Young, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
I don't want to put McConnell or O'Connell in the mix. And by the way, his mustache is awful. He needs to shave that thing. I hate to say this, Thomas, but he looks like if you tried to grow a mustache.
Yeah, right. Just one right here. Just a big one, nothing else.
God, he goes out in public like that? Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't decide. His wife's got to tell him something.
Khalil Mack saw that mustache and he took it personally.
Yeah, he said, I'm getting 5.
6.
6, yeah. 6.
1 for each inch of that thing.
I was about to say, it's funny.
God. Anyways, yeah. No, CJ Stroud's the real deal, man.
Yeah.
I love Ryans as a coach. I love Nico Collins. I've been high on him.
Yep.
And it's only a matter of time before that team is turned around. So, and it's just happening sooner, which is great.
Yeah.
Because during free agency, you're going to get players that actually want to go over there and play. And then that's all they need is they need offensive line for sure. But even with the terrible offensive line, Carolina's a terrible offensive line, but he's just showing that he is the more poised, the better quarterback. And I think CJ Stroud, and all said and done, will be the best quarterback from this draft. And
100%.
So
there's no, as of right now, where we are in the season, there's no competition. There's no doubt. I mean, you watch the other quarterbacks play, right? And Anthony Richardson is right now probably better than what Bryce Young's doing. But Richardson also has the rushing ability, so the numbers get a little bit better, and the system I think, a little bit better. Blah 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 blah. But what CJ Stroud is doing right now, I mean, he doesn't look like a rookie. I mean,
nope.
I didn't watch the Jacksonville game, so I'm not, I don't want to talk about that game, but they won that game,
You were early enough for Toy Story?
Heck no. I did watch a little TikTok video on it though. It looked pretty cool. But no, I mean, the game, against me, the man was sitting in the pocket. You have elite pass rushers rushing you against an injured O-line, and to see a rookie quarterback really have that much poise it's always scary, man. So Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz is there at tight end.
Robert Woods
is, Damian Pierce in the backfield, Singletary in the backfield. They're good, man. And they're, like you said, I think, they have a lot of money available. What they do this offseason is going to be very interesting.
And it's not a good division.
Yeah, it's very easy to steal the division for the next couple of years, regardless of what happens to the draft or offseason, whatever, but 100% could steal the division. So CJ Stroud, real deal. And, props to you because, I remember multiple times you saying that he will be the real deal. So definitely props to you.
What do I give myself a round of applause?
There we go. I feel like I don't ever hear that button for you, man. So
for once it's for me. I get the cheer.
First Monday Night Rants ever. We'll give you the button.
All right, what else we got?
Number 4, we're just gonna stay. Like I said, we kind of already touched on it, so it's hard. But we'll be, I already gave mine, so I think you'll just give yours. What needs to happen this week in Pittsburgh, man? What do you need to change?
They need to win at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That's what they're not doing. They're getting behind too easily, too early, and not be able to establish that run game that should be really good. And I'm going to be honest, not having Deontay Johnson has really hurt them.
Absolutely. Yeah. No route running.
The defensive side of the ball, I don't know what's going on there, but they're at least not getting blown out to a point where they're giving up a ton of points, but they're just not playing with that normal grit that you see a Pittsburgh defense play with. So I think what needs to happen is just an old-fashioned, it's an old-fashioned coach to player, whoop ass. I'm talking run upstairs, Rocky the hell out of them, show them that, hey, the reason why they're beating us because we don't have grit. We don't have that energy, which I don't see any energy out of this team at all. So, I mean, And if they could just win at the line of scrimmage and have more energy, I think they'll be fine. But it's just,
Mhm.
it's like an old fashioned coach, whoosh, like, let's go. Like,
Mhm.
that's what they need. And Mike Tomlin's the guy to do that. I don't think he could just sit around and let this happen again, right?
Yeah, no,
It's-
100% not.
So we see that they can be good, but we've seen way too much bad and just not winning in the trenches. They're
Mhm.
not winning the trench battles. They're
Mhm.
not allowing, like, Najee Harris or Warren can't even get 2 yards without
Mhm.
getting hit. You know, the yards after contact are bad too because then someone else is there because their offensive line's not doing his job.
Yeah.
On the defensive side of the ball, they're not getting to the quarterback like we thought they
Mhm.
would. And they got one of the best sackers in the game. So it's that line. They need to develop, they need to win that battle there to make themselves better. I think that's what it is.
I think that was absolutely perfect. I think the biggest thing you said was, Tomlin going and, Pittsburgh Steelers, the one thing that we are, I mean, even when Ben Roethlisberger went down, I think 2018, whatever it was, we had Mason Rudolph and Devlin Duck Hodges come in as quarterback, and you finished 500 because
Forgot
your
about
defense-
Devlin Hodges.
Exactly, yeah. Shout out Duck Hodges, man.
Shout out to Duck Hodges, baby.
But you finished the season 500 when no one thought you did, and it's because of Pittsburgh Steeler football. It's because of running the ball. James Conner was productive. The offensive line was still productive. The defense was absolutely dominant that year, and that's why they became 500. And so when you take that away from this offense and this defense and everything like that, I mean, we are a horrible football team. Your quarterback, Kenny Pickett, it's getting rough to watch. And it's hard for me to harp on it because he does only have 1.5 seconds to get the ball out, and like you said too, Deontay not having a route runner and having Calvin Austin try to make those plays, and it's
He's
not
not that type of guy.
exactly. So, but I the last thing I want to say is just I think you're 100% right. I think Tomlin needs to go in there, ignite the fire, become the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. You need to have these dogs and give me 5 total sacks, team sacks against the Ravens next week. So.
Jackson, that the trade already went through, but he's having his league because he's a commissioner veto it. Well,
I hope they veto it for you, my man.
Yeah, I hope so, buddy. I think you're going to be better off with the Thielen White in the long run there. But thanks for listening to my rants and having fun with us, man. I hope you're having some laughs and enjoying the show here.
Come back with some more trade advice
During halftime, Monday Night Football game. Okay, let's move on. What else we got?
Number 5, we're going to switch gears. We're going to get out of the NFL, go to the NBA. Your team first, obviously, and then my team's next. Top 5 from 5 to 1. So, 5 to 1 list right now of your, power rankings.
Okay. In the Western and Eastern combined?
Yes.
Oh, my God. I'm going to say the Clippers 5.
Ooh, okay.
As long as they stay healthy.
Uh-huh.
But once that happens, then they're screwed. I mean, they still have the team. This is like the last. This is the last year of the window here. After this year with the Clippers, if they don't go, it's over, man. It's it. So I'll put them there. At 4, I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns. No, I had the Clippers over the Suns. That's a tough one for me. It's almost like a flip between those two. So
we got depth versus all-star power.
Yeah. So I'll say the Suns at 4.
I like that.
And then I'm gonna go. Man, it's tough. You know what? I'm gonna take the Clippers out. I'm gonna say Suns at 5, and then I'm gonna go 76ers, Celtics, Bucks, Denver Nuggets 1.
I like that. Yeah. It's so tricky, man. Because so it's hard for me to go 5 to 1. I feel like that's the problem. Like 1 to 5 is so much easier. So at number 5, as of right now, I'm probably going to go with the Phoenix Suns. I think, the acquisitions they made in the offseason, it's hard to not put them there just to see what they're going to be. Number 4 right now, I am probably going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. I still believe in them. I think when healthy, with a couple more pieces, that team could be very good. I don't want them to break it up, man. I'm not even a Philly fan. I still want to see what they can do. So, I'll put them at number 4. Number 3, I am going to put the Lakers. I think the Lakers offseason acquisitions are absolutely perfect. You brought back what you needed to bring back, but same thing as the Clippers. This all is fully healthy. One injury to who or the other who, and the team is absolutely done. So they're at my 3 right now. At my number 2 is the new put together team in Milwaukee. I got the Bucks. I think Dame and Giannis with Middleton still there, Brook Lopez at center. Still got some depth over there in Milwaukee. They're going to be pretty damn good. So I'll put them at my number 2 right now. And number 1, I'm going, which a lot of people aren't, and it's the same thing as last year, but I'm glad you just did. I'm putting the defending champs in number 1. They're the defending champs for a reason. The only thing that they really lost was Bruce Brown, which is a loss, but you kept your core. The Denver Nuggets are scary, man, and they are going to remain at number 1 for me for sure.
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. We're similar on there. Jack's going crazy in the chat right now. I don't know what's going on, and everything is coming in backwards. So,
they're not videoing it for him.
No, he says that. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm going to read the whole thing out just for him because obviously shows like this don't get views because we don't read the whole thing to give the commenters advice. We gave you advice on what we thought of the trade. I don't know how your league works, so sorry, buddy. But okay, and then we'll go to a break. But what's funny is this trade already went through last week. I announced in my league Saturday that I'm commissioner of. And I did this trade, and to vote on it, I've offered the ability for all trades to go through before the week starts so teams can have their trades to go through before Sunday. Everyone approved, but then a couple people said the trade was collusion on Sunday. So I had to reverse it as the commissioner, which is funny. It is. It's probably in my best interest the trade gets reversed. Yes, they suffer from decency bias. Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting that you have that type of strategy as the commissioner to do it like that. But, I mean,
a win's a win, man. Take the win.
Yeah, take the win there, bud. And I'm sorry, but we're also have segments to do, and we already answered your question, and it was a long response there, but I got it all out for you, man. So shout out to Jack, man. Jack, you can be my friend. I hope you're a fellow Swiftie like me. So real quick though, who do you got in the World Series?
Oh man, I'm gonna stick with it. NL. I haven't had a question pretty much all year. I'm going the Braves. I'm riding the Braves, man. Ronald Acuna Jr. is a freak, yes, and I think they're gonna win it all in general. But I do think the AL. I got the Astros meeting them. I think the Astros are gonna end up going to the World Series, man. As usual, they always surprise and end up going. So
I have a feeling Heavy T will be on the same boat as that one. We'll see though. He always likes to pull those little random hot takes out, and he may have the Arizona Diamondbacks in there for some reason. I don't know. We'll see.
I will say though, I heard you say it, and I do want to make a comment on it. I am not a believer in the Orioles at all.
They're going to be there.
A couple years future.
Yeah, 100%. They're just not ready for this spotlight quite yet.
Yeah. So give me the Rays. Yep, going further than for sure. So
definitely. So you got the Houston and the Braves. You have the Braves win the whole thing, obviously.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, shout out to the questions and everybody who asked them today. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give the.
What are we thinking?
I'm going with the Puka question because that's a really good question.
I like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then I would like to, Jack, if you'd like a Monday Night Rants hoodie, go ahead and email me at mondaynighrants@gmail.com and I'll send one your way, buddy. Okay, I will send one your way, Jack.
Jack, if you ever got any questions, man, send it. My Instagram is the tag right here at Better Thomas. If you ever want
and at Better Thomas, we'll read your questions and feel free. Also, there's a call-in link to actually call in. Heavy T will meet you at the gate and let you in, and we can discuss this.
Heavy T's the gate.
This novel of a question you got here. So, all right, man. Well, we'll talk soon, my friend. We'll see you next week.
All right, man.
I hope you enjoy the rest of the game. And I think he's gone. I think he bowed out. It's funny.
All right, man. Okay. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Love you, man. We'll talk soon. Later. Rants on Street is always fun. All right. After the break, Geno Smith is back on the field after halftime for the third quarter, 14-3. The Seahawks over the Giants. The Giants need to do something, and quickly. So we'll see how that rolls. After the break, we're talking a little AP college football. I dominated. Heavy T and I, we talked college football last week. We hit most of our bets. It was a great week. Well, I hit my Colorado bet. He got close to his, but we'll explain that after the break. So after the break, AP Top 25, what we like, what we don't like, and a look into betting for next week and more on Monday Night Rants. Boom.
The Bears have to be one of the most inept franchises of any sport I've ever seen in my entire life. And they share the city with the White Sox, who are also inept. Like, that is how bad the Bears are. I just don't understand how you can go your entire existence and the quarterback that wins you a Super Bowl is Jim McMahon. You couldn't find anybody else.
They don't have a good history with quarterbacks, but they let him be the quarterback for a long time too.
Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you drafted Mitch Trubisky. They were right there. I there's a lot of pain in being a Falcons fan. The Bears are one of the teams I could argue they might have it worse, and they have a Super Bowl. And when the best quarterback in the past 50 years is Jay Cutler, you have a problem.
That's so funny that you just said that. We were talking about Jay Cutler the other day, me and my friend, and I was like, yeah, he was on, because we were watching the Colorado Rockies game against the Giants, and it looked like he was behind the thing. I was, yeah, well, he played for Denver most of his career. We looked it up. Chicago let him be their starting quarterback way too long.
Here's the thing, too, is that Jay Cutler wasn't bad. Like, he was erratic. He wasn't terrible, though.
The poor man's Brett Favre.
I'm taking him over Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
I would.
But Jay Cutler led that team to an NFC title game.
Yeah.
That they lost to Green Bay. But he's gotten farther than anybody else. You want to know who the other starting quarterback was for the Bears in the other Super Bowl appearance they made? It was Rex Grossman. What are we doing out here? It was Rex Grossman, and Kyle Orton was the backup. How are you that bad? Bro, like, oh my God. Listen to the top 5. According to Football Reference, the top 5 greatest Bears quarterbacks of all time. Jay Cutler, number 1.
I can't believe it.
Sid Luckman, who last played in 1950, is number 2. Jim Harbaugh is number 3. Jim McMahon, the Super Bowl winner, is number 4, and he played there for 6 years. And Mitch Trubisky, is number 5 on the list as terms of passing yards go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Monday Night Rants. So much Mitch Trubisky talk tonight. I don't know what's going on there for sure, but we are back. And so is Geno Smith with a beautiful throw over the top to Tyler Lockett. First down. Oh, looks like it was a penalty maybe or something. But nope, still a first down. Yeah, the Giants not looking good. So my prediction could falter. But you know what predictions did not falter? Almost every week here is our college football predictions. I think Heavy T and myself have been nailing them. I'm at almost a 70% against the spread rate so far as we hit week 6 coming up. So been doing really good here. I said Colorado would cover. Not Heavy T said they would win. I said they would cover. They did. They covered. My lock of the week, which I hate saying that word, but my favorite one was the South Carolina Tennessee. It was close, and the Tennessee kind of ran away with land, so I didn't win that one. But man, I hit on everything else really on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to this Saturday as well. Some big matches we'll talk about. But before we get to that, we'll get into the top 25 rankings here. What I like, what I don't like. A lot of movement here. Again, but the same teams just moving up and down. So it's very, very interesting. And this next week, as we get into conference play, is going to really show where we are, or where these teams are really, towards a national title. And Georgia really squeaking out a win against Auburn. I thought they were going to lose that game. Did not look good. And that was their first real test. They didn't have many capable opponents, if you will, the first 5 weeks of the season. 4 weeks of the season. But then Auburn gave them all they can handle. And I'm not sold on Georgia as I once was. Yes, they have the longest winning streak in the nation. But I'm not really sold on them as I was last year. So I think it's anyone who is in the top 10, maybe even top 15, has a chance to win the national title this year. It's that wide open. It's crazy. So Georgia stays at number 1, Michigan at number 2. They will go up against Minnesota this week. Michigan's going to get tested late in the season. I have a feeling they go undefeated, but I can see them losing 2 in a row. Penn State, the game. I don't know why they call it the game. It's a game. Why is it the game? Isn't every game the game? Yeah. Anyways, Michigan, number 2. Texas, number 3, staying put. And Ohio State at that 4th spot. Ohio State's not even that impressive anyways. This week, they have a big matchup against Maryland, who I think Maryland's going to give fits. More on that in a little bit. Florida State stayed put as well at 5. Penn State at 6. This Penn State team consistently continues to prove me wrong. Finally, I was all over them this last week and won some money off the game. This is a really good Penn State team that nobody is talking about. They could win the Big Ten. And I was down on them. But watching the games, watching them play, seeing it with my eyes, this team is well-balanced, defensive, offensive, special teams. They're really good in the trenches. And I have a feeling this Penn State team can go really far, and they may get some national attention finally, even though they've been like in the top 10 all year, but like of the Ohio States, of the Michigans in the world here relatively shortly. They do play UMass this week, so not this week, but coming up. Washington has moved. Oh, they're at 7 still. I think Washington is the best team in the Pac-12. Oregon moved over USC because obviously Oregon dominated Colorado. USC struggled against Colorado late in that game. Oregon's now 8, USC 9. Something has to give there. Oregon has to go through a gauntlet where they are going to play. They have a bye next week. Then they play Washington, then USC. So these 3 right here in this jumbled area are going to figure each other out here in a couple weeks. And I like this Oregon team. I think Washington and Oregon are the class of the Pac-12 this year. They are finally, I think we're finally trying. Yes, they've been the best conference. But I think they're the best 2 all-around teams. And the Oregon defense is playing lights out as well. So I look for Oregon and Washington to probably be in the Pac-12 championship. But it's Caleb Williams and USC. But as Heavy T has said, how many times? The defense is awful. How do you let Colorado come back into that game when you're dominating the first half to even have a chance to win it? Because your defense sucks. Shout out to Heavy T on that one. Their defense is terrible. Caleb Williams can't do everything. He can't play defense too. So there you go. Notre Dame moves up a spot. They go up against newly number 25 Louisville this next week, which will be a great game. Notre Dame just constantly gets these games each week where they're not dominating, but they just find a way to win. So we'll see how it all, ends up. But Notre Dame, Louisville will be an interesting game. Louisville, top 25. I'm not sold on them to be a top 25. I'll explain who I think should be in that 25 spot later. But there you go. Alabama moved up a spot. Again, yes, they finally showed some offense a little bit, but I'm still worried. And they got a really tough game next week, which I am all over. At College Station against Texas A&M. I am all over Texas A&M in this game. All over it. 100% all over. So we'll talk about that. Oklahoma moves up 2, and they got the biggest game of the weekend, the Red River rivalry, which is right against Texas. I think this game could actually go either way. Obviously, a lot of the money is probably going to go on Texas. But I'm willing to put the money on Oklahoma to upset Texas in Texas. This rivalry game has always been bananas. It's always close. It's always high scoring. And it's always back and forth every year for the last 10 years. I could see Oklahoma upsetting Texas in Texas, the Red Rival. Shootout on Saturday. Washington State moves up 3, 4-0. Look impressive. However, UCLA, who just got knocked out of the top 25, host Washington State next week, and UCLA is actually a favorite over number 13 Washington State. I think a lot of people are going to be taking Washington State in this game just because they're ranked, just because they see it on paper. I think UCLA wins this game at home against Washington State and gets back into the top 25 next week. North Carolina, 4-0, moved up a spot. They play a tough Syracuse team at home next week. I think North Carolina should pull it out. Oregon State looked impressive against Utah, right? On paper. However, let me feed you my baby birds. Utah was on their third string quarterback, missing their top 2 tight ends, their top 2 running backs, some offensive linemen. I don't know where Rising is or what's going on with his injury, but he's not ready. But they're going to lose themselves out with injuries. And I don't see Utah being a factor in 3 weeks if Rising does not come back, and I mean soon. I know they have a game against Cal, at home against Cal, which should be a winnable game, even with your third stringers in there. But Utah has issues, injury-wise, that I don't think they could recover from now. Remember, they should have lost to Baylor, close games, with all these guys that are coming in for their starters. I don't think Utah's going to be a factor anymore. And I think Cal, I'm not saying they're going to upset, but I may be willing to put money on the California side of the ball in this game. Ole Miss, a big win. A week late, though. Jesus, they could have beat Alabama. But a good dominant win there. They have a good game against Arkansas. I say Arkansas, people. It's Kansas and Arkansas. Okay? Right? My wife says she got me a duvet. I said, what's that? Oh, a dovet? I don't know what's going on right now, but what's going? Heavy T says he wants to fight me on the Red Rival game. I kind of want to fight him on that too. So let's bring it. Heavy T, come on in. Let's talk about the old Oklahoma-Texas game and see if we could hash out our differences here going forward here. No, you don't like it. Oh, can't hear you. It doesn't like you either.
You know what? I always forget to hit unmute on my board just in case. That's good. But that also means you missed out on my Undertaker gong text tone that I get every time I get a text message. So that's
only you.
Yeah, only me. Dude. I got the matching tattoo to go with it, but yeah, only me would have that.
Texas is favored. Texas is favored in the Red River rivalry by 6.5, my friend.
Yeah, and you know who else supports Texas? Ironically, The Undertaker. Didn't even mean to bring that up, but it's actually a fact. So, dude, this game is in Texas. Mm-hmm. It's going to be the last one in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma's not that good. Stop it. Like, they're not number 12.
Yes, they're are.
Not. Texas minus 6.5 all damn day. Easily. Because what happens, even if Quinn Ewers struggles, Arch Manning plug and play, baby. Okay? It's going to happen. Minus 6.5 Texas all day, every day.
You don't believe in Dylan Gabriel?
No.
I am going to say we do an actual bet on this one. I'm going to take the points.
Okay.
I'll take
what are we thinking?
I'll take the current now. I don't know what it's going to go to, but I'll take the 6.5 for Oklahoma.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. What should the bet be?
Tell you what, we'll hold on to that. We'll figure out something.
I'm always the one that chooses the bet, so I'll let you do it this time because you're so confident in Texas.
I mean, I did just win a bet last night. Do I want to double down on this? Like, oh man. So real quick, fun fact: went to a Family Guy pop-up event that was here in LA. Yeah, it was like Family Guy. It was like food and mini golf. It was pretty cool. But we did that, and one of my friends, me and her go out drinking a lot when I lived in Houston, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be visiting there next year. And so our bet was whoever loses in this mini golf thing has to pay up to $100 worth of the other person's bar tab when I go back and visit. And your boy won because I'm amazing. Okay, so $100 of free drinks when I get back to Houston. But for this,
I say we make it. I say we make it a dress-up contest.
You know what? Okay, that's fine. Okay. This is what we'll do. So, if you win, I will figure out. Or if I win, I will figure out what your costume will be. I'll get back to you on that.
And if
you win,
I get to choose what you get to wear.
Or you can have me dress up in what I'm actually already going to be wearing at a costume party on Saturday.
What is it?
It's a 90s party, so I'll give you a hint that is 90s wrestler themed.
The Undertaker.
It's actually not. It's actually not the Undertaker. So
Okay.
it's not the Undertaker.
Sting.
It's not. I can't do the face paint. No, it's not Sting. By the way, one of my favorite all-time gifs is when Sting takes off the mask of Sting and it's just Sting underneath.
Yeah. Classic. Yeah. I don't even like I don't even watch wrestling, and I love that meme.
Oh, that's such a good one. Yeah. But okay, I think a dress-up one is appropriate. I like that. Okay. Oh, I think I know what I might have you do. If you lose, you get to recreate the Vince Wilfork look from Hard Knocks.
No way.
The overalls and the cowboy hat, no shirt underneath, baby. Let's go.
I do have a cowboy hat.
I'm not surprised. So you go out and find some overalls, no shirt underneath, and that's you for the entire show. I would make you get the boots, but nobody can see your feet, so that doesn't really matter.
I do have boots too.
Oh my god. Okay, well we'll get a full picture out there for the gram if you lose.
Okay. I don't have overalls though. I don't rock the.
Yeah, you'll have to go out and shop for those.
Okay, I was thinking of just buying you a 80 for Brady jersey and having you wear it.
That could work too. I'd be fine with that. I'll tell you what, I could do that. That's fine.
No, let me figure something else out. I think we could have more fun with it than that. I think that's getting kind of played out. I want something new. I think we're gonna surprise people here. I have a really good idea. Okay, yeah, we'll think about it. 6.5 now. It's gonna change. I got Oklahoma. You got Texas.
Yes, correct. And I have an upset as well.
What's your upset of the week?
Let me just pull it up real quick because it is way down here. Give me one second.
I think mine is UCLA, but I don't know what upset that is.
UCLA. I need to find that one too. I hate it when
I do like Maryland covering against Ohio State 19.5. That's another one I do enjoy very much.
That's an interesting one. Okay. No, this one is my upset.
Okay.
+2.5. Texas A&M over Alabama.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Come on. I just mentioned that. I love that pick. In College Station.
Yeah, in College Station at College Field.
I wouldn't even take the +2.5. I would get
honestly,
I'll take the money.
Yeah. I'll take the money line as well. Like if you want to parlay that with someone, I think the money line's a great bet. Texas A&M. Milroe's not. I'll say it again. Milroe is not good. No. And the backup, the dude from Notre Dame, I think it's Hitchner. He's not good either. So yeah, take that all day, every day. UCLA real quick.
They're actually favored at home against Washington.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But already the public is all over Washington State because they're ranked 13 in the nation. They're not looking at the actual stats and the deets. You know what I mean? So I'm actually willing to take UCLA and the 3.5 at home.
Yeah, 13 is surprising.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this game.
Well, they did win the Pac-2 championship earlier.
They did. That is true. I might take. Looking at this game, the under is interesting because it's at 59.5.
Yes.
The under. I think I might take the under on this one.
I would definitely take the under on that too as well.
Okay.
I like UCLA and the points and under. Like, to be honest, because the UCLA defense is actually pretty good. So, and Ward's been great for Washington State, but it's a lot here, and it's just Vegas is just putting this gem to try to get everyone to take Washington State, and I can't do it. I gotta go against it, 100% all the time. Are you touching Louisville, Notre Dame, and the Notre Dame only 6.5 favorites?
Not really. Just because I don't know enough about Louisville.
They're not a 25 team. I'll tell you that. One of the other games I really like is the Ole Miss Arkansas game. Ole Miss with -11. Now they have the tendency to go terrible game, good game, terrible game. This would result in the terrible game time of the year. So I'm interested a little bit because Arkansas looked good to start the year, and they've just been close. At 11, I'll be willing to put some money on them as well. But I definitely do like the under in that game as well, which is 62.5.
Okay. I'm going to give you one last one.
Okay.
It's a little bit on the spicy side.
Ooh, I like spicy.
I'm going to take Kentucky +14.5.
Ooh, I was just looking at that too. You're going to take the Kentucky, huh?
I'll take the Kentucky points +14.5. Georgia's not playing well right now. They've nearly lost twice one of those being at home with that first half at South Carolina, or against South Carolina. So yeah, I'll take Kentucky plus 14.5. I think it's a good bet.
I would be intrigued by that as well, actually, to tell you the truth. This is the time of year where you could get some really good lines in your favor, especially with underdogs, especially when conference play starts to happen, because you don't really know how these teams play each other yet, or within conference. So this is like the juiciest time of year. A reason why we did so well last weekend. Heavy T.
Yeah, we've actually we've done pretty well, and like I know you gave me props for it earlier, but I'll say it again. USC's defense is not good, people. It is not good. Colorado had no business winning that game. Or even coming close to that game. Now, I will admit, Caleb Williams threw an awful interception. That was his only interception of the game. But that USC defense can't stop anything. Anything at all.
Nothing.
So, yeah. I mean,
especially once they get a lead. It's like, what? Well, we have the lead. We can lay back a little bit. Jesus.
Yeah, it's just, what are you guys doing, man? And, like, I'm fine with them falling back to number 9. They're not a top 5 team. They're not a good team. Like, their offense is great. Their defense is horrid.
I think Washington and Oregon are the two best teams in the Pac-12. I think that's a guarantee.
Yeah. After they play Arizona, which is, looking at my calendar, this weekend. Yes. After they play Arizona, 4 of the next 5 opponents are all ranked. Notre Dame 10, Utah 18, Washington 7, Oregon 8.
And then Oregon's losing both, though.
They are losing. USC is losing at least 2 of those games. Guaranteed.
I can see
They're losing at least 2 of those.
I can see it. I do want to say, so I do want to give a shout out to a game I think is going to be one of the best games of the weekend, and that's the number 24 Fresno State and Wyoming game. Remember, Wyoming upset Texas Tech earlier. They're 4-1. They've been playing really good. I have a feeling this is going to be a really good football game. Fresno State's favored on the road, -5.5. Fresno State never plays well in Wyoming, and I live in Fresno. But I would be willing to know Fresno State, and I'm sure Fresno State will probably, because they're ranked, have the public. I don't have public numbers quite yet. To take Wyoming at the 5.5.
Okay.
At home. And really, I think Louisville at 25. The last thing I do want to say is I do think that A&M should be in the top 25. And they will be after this week, because they should be the team that's in the 25 spot.
Yeah, after they beat Alabama, A&M they'll get there.
And why is LSU still here? They're 3-2. Like, they got to go up against Missouri this week too.
LSU is literally here on name value only, and it's annoying.
They dropped 10 spots this week.
They shouldn't be in. You're 3-2. You shouldn't be in it.
A&M should be in there. I would even be willing to say Maryland should be in there. Air Force, another Mountain West team, is undefeated, has been playing out of their mind too. But LSU should be gone, and they have a really tough game against Missouri this weekend.
I'll be honest. I know nothing about Missouri. I'll take Missouri plus 6.5 because LSU sucks. Okay?
I was just going to say my pick of the week is Missouri at home plus 6.5 against LSU. That is my pick of the week.
Like I said, I know nothing about them. They're terrible. LSU sucks, dude.
Not good.
Brian Kelly's a fraud. Absolute fraud. Dude will be coaching Arkin by next winter. Like,
that is my underdog.
Or Akron, my bad.
That's my underdog pick of the week. Missouri at home against LSU. So they have it.
Infuriating, man. I can't stand that dude.
We'll have to rewatch to see how he did again. But again, I think we're like 3 weeks in a row. We have nailed these. So A&M money line. A&M money line. We differ on the Red River rivalry. We have a bet on that. I'm saying Missouri covers at home. I live in Fresno. I'm a Fresno State fan, but I'm taking Wyoming to cover at home. I think Maryland covers at 19.5. I think UCLA -3.5 is a win. And what else do we? Oh, Kentucky covers. I'm with you there. And I think Michigan over Minnesota at 19.5. I'm taking Michigan in the 19.5 as well.
Yeah, as much as I sometimes like Minnesota, this year isn't the year. Like,
that's three touchdowns. That's it. I'm taking that. If it was like 24, I would probably stay away. But at 19.5 right now, I'm hitting that because by Thursday, that gets to 21. And that's what you don't want. So I'm getting that 19.5 right now. And there you go. Let's win some money again, everybody, my fellow ranters. Let's win some money.
Hey, these chains don't pay for themselves, baby. Let's go.
You got one chain or 2 chains?
1 chain. 2 chains is reserved for the rapper, and I respect that about him.
Right.
So
fairly
said, I'll tell you what.
Saw where I was going, so I like it.
We keep winning. I'll go to 3 chains. We'll see what's up.
Oh, 3 chains.
3 chain.
Heavy 3 chains.
Heavy. That's a name. Okay. That's a name.
You got a quick break you could throw us to. When we come back, we'll go to We'll
quick break.
What say ye, Heavy T?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, as part of What Say Ye, Heavy T, I got some different baseball opinions than you do. I have, including a spicy little interesting upset in the wild card round.
After the break, Heavy T's spicy little upset. Boom.
Like Devon Levi started off in the friend zone and now like he could possibly be wife material. So it is exceptionally hard to trust a rookie goalie in the NHL. The kid is what? He's 21. Like, okay. And he is going to the Buffalo Sabres. But we've all agreed that the Buffalo Sabres are at least a somewhat better hockey team on paper. Again, it's hard to trust a rookie goalie. We've seen future Hall of Fame goalies like, Fleury in his first year struggle, right? Carey Price in his first year struggle. It is tough for goalies to come in and have success. That being said, nobody outside of maybe a Buffalo sports fan can tell me who the 2 goalies on their roster are, because I didn't know until this morning, until I was reminded that it was Eric Comrie and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. And I was like, okay, well, he has the crease to himself. So all he can do is lose it. That's all he can do. Buffalo is going to be a fun team to watch, which means maybe Devon Levi ends up in what I call the Martin Jones syndrome, which is a goals against the average is pretty up there. Save percentage is not very good, but he's going to finish with 35 wins because he's just going to play a lot. And it's going to be that back and forth hockey. The Atlantic Division is not very good, right? There are some teams that are going to regress. So there's opportunities here for Buffalo to do well. And I think his over-under on wins is set at 24.5. So again, there's a lot of things that I may not trust about him, but as a 13th goalie off the board, and I think that is a reach at 13. I think a lot of people have him farther back than that. So he may be 13 on NHL.com's list, but you may end up and show up in your Yahoo or your ESPN draft and they haven't ranked probably outside of the top 20. So I would have no issue as a second goalie going with Levi, because like, who's taking his spot? Nobody. And volume at one point, if you're in a league that doesn't penalize you for losses, if you're in a league that rewards saves and save bonuses like, for daily, DraftKings does, he has all that working for him. So if it doesn't work out, all right, fine. Then you can go and pick up whoever is there. But it is his net to lose. I understand the risk. I will definitely take, because that's how you win championships, right? You got to take risks to win them. If you're safe, you're going to finish, eliminated in the first round and you had a good time. Or you can try to win the championship on draft day.
Just when you thought the Giants were going to get back into the game, Daniel Jones from the 10-yard line, first and goal, throws a pick six. Oh, man. And the Giants are them. They're not good.
No, you don't get it. So there is a little bit more underneath this. So
okay.
I'm sitting in the studio over at FanDuel yesterday, and I'm looking at my fantasy lineup in one of the leagues I really, really care about. And I said, okay, I don't believe in the Jets defense this week because they're playing Kansas City. In hindsight, okay, they actually put up a pretty good fight. Mm-hmm. But didn't believe him at the time, and I'm like, I need another defense. And for whatever reason, didn't realize this until the afternoon games were about to kick off. So it's really late, right?
Seattle.
I'm looking, I'm like, Seattle is right there.
Seattle is right there.
Yeah. So I took out the Jets because when I had the Jets in, I was projected to lose by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Took out the Jets, put in Seattle, all of a sudden I'm projected to win by 5. Seattle in my fantasy league has 28.3 points.
Oh man.
I am flying high right now, dude.
Does Daniel Jones make the rest of the season as a starter for the Giants?
He sucks. But yeah, no, he's kind of in a tough place because besides Darren Waller, he has no receivers.
Well, Robinson's back. He was a great receiver until he got hurt last year. And he started the game off really nice today.
Doesn't really affect me. Like that whole team, their receiving core is bottom 5 maybe in the league.
Yeah. Well, after Wandell, you got Slayton, but Slayton's been quietly like that guy that's been decent, but he hasn't done anything this year. And normally he steps up. And Paris Campbell, it's not. Yeah, it's not looking good for the Giants going forward. I'll tell you that.
Look, two things. Number one, when I think of who has the worst receiving core in the league, it's Carolina, and then New York is right after. And
Coop just called you a genius. So
thank you, Coop. Thank you. Thank you. I am I'm an effing genius. All right, that's the way it is. That's number one. And number two, I completely forgot what I was going to say at this moment. So
you don't care anymore. You got called a genius by the tight end whisperer himself.
Exactly. Which, hey, you know what? Credit where it's due. I have to call Coop a genius as well because he was hyping up this one dude the entire offseason. I ended up taking this one dude in 7 out of the 9 leagues I'm in. Sam Laporta's a baller.
Oh,
dude.
baller.
That dude is a baller. And I took him with like the last pick in almost all of my drafts. And now everybody's like, how did you know about this dude? I'm like, Andrew Cooper knows what's up.
The Coop Dog. Can I call him that?
Nah.
Coop Dog? Is that a name? He's probably going to hate that.
Yeah, probably. It's okay. So good. And you know what? I'm watching the replay of the interception right now. Witherspoon might be him, bro. Like, he is good. He is a damn good corner. And
for being the oldest coach in the NFL, Pete Carroll still has some wheels.
Yeah. And now that I mentioned Daniel Jones' name, I remember the other thing I was going to say. They just paid him. Like, they just gave him all that money, and he absolutely sucks. Like, there's no way he finishes out that contract in New York. Absolutely no way.
Not a chance.
Like, they got to figure out very quickly what to do with him, and they could let him go. And I hate bringing this up because I would really like this guy to be in Atlanta because Desmond Ridder is also not him. I don't know if that was a question you had for me, but Desmond Ridder sucks. He's going to go.
I was not going to bring that up because I wanted a happy heavy tea tonight.
Yeah, Desmond Ridder's got to go. But I have my eyes on 2 quarterbacks for next season.
Okay.
One is currently in college. The other is going to be a free agent.
Not named Caleb Williams.
Not named Caleb Williams because we're not going to be that bad.
Or Drake May.
So the first one, which is the NFL option, which is what the Giants should honestly look at too. Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent.
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, that's a very interesting option because he's slinging it. And he can still do it. And he might get traded from Minnesota, honestly. I could see that happening. He gets traded for like a third, maybe a third that could turn into a second, something like that. I could see him moving. Someone who needs it. Like the Jets could probably. Oh, if Zach Wilson would have done horrible last night, the Jets definitely probably could have used him.
He likes Coop Dog. All right.
All right. Cool. So we can keep that in. Okay. Oh, man. So Kirk Cousins is an option. I would love Cousins in Atlanta. And yes, we are all geniuses, the whole family.
Coop Dog.
The FA family.
That's right.
So, yeah. The other one I'm interested who's in college.
I'm interested in this too because college is my thing.
It's very interesting to see if he comes out. I really like Shedeur Sanders.
No.
I really like Shedeur Sanders. But and here's the other thing.
He'll stay one more year.
See, that's the thing. It really counts on if he comes out or not. I think if he counts, he's probably a mid to late first round pick, which I'm fine with because I think that's where Atlanta's going to be. So that's number one. But number two, it makes perfect sense because who did Dad get drafted by? Atlanta back in '89. Bring him home. Bring him home. Bring him home, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Atlanta also drafted Brett Favre for what it's worth.
We don't talk about that. we don't talk about that one.
Anyways,
man.
let's get into our new segment we like to call here, and everyone loves, by the way. So there you go.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
What say ye, Heavy T? I need to get like a fake skull and like maybe like a what
scroll.
Say ye, Heavy T.
Yeah, I need you in a jester's hat just saying like hear ye, or something like that. Like hear ye, what say ye, Heavy T.
This reminds me of like the Simpsons and Homer as the town crier. Like the
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. Needs to be something like that.
All right, Heavy T, let's run through your baseball as quick as we can because we do got we got a lot to do still in the show. So we talked about it. We got mine earlier. We did Thomas Stevens while he was on, and now we're going to run through yours. And I want your little nugget who you think is going to be in the World Series. You said you got a sleeper pick here, so let's go.
Yeah, so the first one, I'm picking the Rays. Rangers limped into that postseason.
Yes, sir.
All they had to do was win 2 games, and the AL West is yours. They lost 3 of 4 to Seattle, who in their own right was fighting for a playoff spot. But then the one game they win, they celebrate a little too hard, and they don't even score a run the next game. They lose to Seattle 1-0. Meanwhile, Houston wins, and because this is going to be like their 8th or 7th year in a row making it to the playoffs,
they got the bye, the 2 seed.
Well, not only did that, how did they celebrate? They had a small little champagne toast where each guy had a glass of champagne. They basically said, we're not done. Meanwhile, Texas splattering champagne like it's free water just all over the clubhouse. Probably drank a little too much and couldn't even score a run.
Kind of like the Padres last year after beating the Dodgers and not showing up against the Phillies.
Exactly. In a game that didn't even mean anything to Seattle, and Seattle scored 1, Texas couldn't even put up 1, and now Houston has a division, and now instead of getting much-needed rest, now you have to not only not be at home, but you have to go to Tampa.
And play the Rays.
So, yeah.
You're tough.
Picking Tampa for that.
Okay.
This one is pretty easy. Not big on the Twins at all. Blue Jays. It's too much power right there. So there's your ALDS. NL wild card. I agree with you. The Brewers, no, that's 92 and 70 is incredibly misleading.
No Woodruff.
No Woodruff. Now, don't get me wrong. They have a great pitching staff. They can't hit. They are not a good hitting team. Arizona all the way.
Their best player on offense is Willie Adames. Like that's
exactly. Like, trust me, I have to fill in these stats over at FanDuel. I know how good the Brewers are. They are not that good. Okay, they are not good. This is the interesting one. I'm going to go Marlins.
Okay, I was kind of a flip on that one as well. I can see the Marlins pulling it off. I just went. I
actually did look this up. So I believe the stats were they played 13 games against each other. The Marlins were 7-6 against the Phillies this season, but they were 4-2 in Philadelphia. They actually played very well in Philadelphia. And that for me right there was kind of the deciding factor.
Probably because Philadelphia has a hitter's ballpark and their ballpark stinks.
Yeah, their ballpark is definitely more of a pitcher's ballpark, but do not be mistaken by Miami. They got some dudes that can rake.
They do.
Jorge Soler can rake. Jake Berger can rake. Jazz Chisholm, he can get guys in. They have a very good team. Not good enough to beat the Braves, which is why I'm putting the Braves in the NLCS. But good enough to actually.
They don't have Acuna and Olsen, and
they don't have Acuna, Olsen, Murphy, or a guy with the mustache named Strider. Okay, don't have any of that. So I will pick the Braves to move on to the NLCS, but I will pick the Marlins to beat the Phillies and get into the DS. Okay. Now, looking at the bottom right here. I agree with you. Diamondbacks are good. They're not there just yet. They're good, but they're not there yet. So I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
So we're even there, except you have the Marlins.
Except the Marlins pick, correct? Yes. Now this is where we also disagree.
I bet. No,
I got Baltimore.
You're doing it,
Baltimore going to the CS.
You're doing it. Okay.
I got Baltimore going to the CS. I think Baltimore. I'm very concerned about how Tampa started extremely hot, and then they were kind of like, during the rest of the season. They were okay.
Well, they lost Glasnow for a while. They got him back. So I don't know. I just experience team-wise, Orioles, they're just not there yet for me. But I can see them winning. Trust me. But just I gotta go with what I see and what I know. So
here's the other thing about these two. I'm a firm believer that, especially when it comes to baseball, home field advantage really, really matters. Okay. And between these two teams, These fans don't care. These fans rock. Okay. These fans got a bird bath. These guys got a stingray in a pool, and that thing killed Steve Irwin. So we can't have that. All right. So we're just going to go Orioles over here in the ALCS. This one, I will admit, this is interesting. Toronto is good. Houston has been very hurt this year, and they've also been very streaky.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this solely comes down to playoff experience, and the fact that Houston did trade to get Verlander back does help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this one actually goes the full 5, but Houston pulls it out, goes to the ALCS for a 7th straight year.
Okay. No arguments there. We're have 3 of the 4 together.
This one's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
These dudes played in September at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers got absolutely slapped around. Now, I will say this.
The Dodgers cannot beat the Braves in the playoffs. It just doesn't.
I will say this. I think it goes 6. I think it goes a little bit longer than everybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I think Atlanta pulls it off, so I'll put them in the World Series right here. But I think the Dodgers make it a little bit closer than everybody thinks. I'm going to say the Braves do win it in 6, but the games are tight, especially towards the end. I think
it's fair.
I'll say 5 of the 6 end within 2 runs of each other.
Fair.
Okay. This one is also interesting.
I want to see where you go here.
I'm going to be.
You got to speed it up a little bit, but I'm going to see where you go here.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is a coin toss. It really is. Baltimore is very good. They are a very good team. That lineup doesn't really have a weakness. Well, you know who else doesn't have a weakness? Those dudes. When they are on, they are absolutely on. If they have one weakness this season, it's probably that Jeremy Pena has definitely had a sophomore slump. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to say this one goes 7. Houston ekes it out.
Okay.
Barely ekes it out, but it goes 7.
Mm-hmm.
This one, we're going to get a rematch of 2021.
Mm-hmm. And the same result.
I think I'm going to go the same result. I'm flipping. I'm literally thinking about it in my head right now. Are we going to go the same result? And the Braves are just too good. They're really so good.
And it's hard to see any team beating the Braves in a 7-game series. Like, it's really hard.
Now it could definitely happen, because that's what we were all saying about those Braves teams in the 90s. So it can definitely happen. Mm-hmm. But right now, I mean, Acuna is having a historic season. Now, don't put the Astros to bed just yet, because Kyle Tucker, on the other hand, I'm going to be dead honest with you. If it wasn't for Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker would be AL MVP, hands down. He is that good. He had a great season, finished 1 homer shy of 30-30. He is really good. You still have Yordan, you still have Jose, but the pitching is a little suspect, and I think Atlanta's pitching is a little bit more.
Due to injuries. They lost all their good pitchers to season-long injuries that killed them.
I'm going to say Atlanta takes it.
All right.
And I'm going to say they do it. I'm going to say they do it again in 6. I'm going to say again.
Okay. I think, you know how like that trend where like on College Game Day where they're like, oh, we all the same team. Like, I want to change that graphic. One of us should have picked someone beside the Braves, but they're just too good to not. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you could do your hot take. You could say, oh, maybe the Astros or maybe the Dodgers finally get their win against the Braves in the postseason, but the Braves are just so good all the way around. It's just hard to go.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. If the Dodgers end up beating the Braves in the NLCS, I would not be surprised, because
I would not be surprised either.
Since that September matchup, the Dodgers bullpen has finally kind of shown up and started to actually close out games. Their starters are going to be the question mark, because Urias decided to be an idiot at whatever that stadium was. I can't remember what the name of it is now, but BMO over there in LA during the Messi game decided to be stupid. But I think Atlanta's just too good. Like I said, Houston's lineup has no weaknesses, but they're streaky. Atlanta's lineup is not streaky and literally does not have a single weakness. They are amazingly good. So yeah, I'll go Atlanta.
So there you go. We all align there. Just the path to get there is a little different. Andrew Cooper wants to know who's winning the NASCAR race on Sunday. Well, my boy Ryan Blaney won yesterday, so he ain't winning.
Is Jimmy Johnson still a thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Looking at it though from an early, and it's also the end of the playoff to see who makes the top 8. Chase Elliott's always a factor at the Roval at Charlotte, but I have to really get into it myself and see what we're doing. But I will have my pick, trust me, before I do Grill vs. Grill this week, which you can check out on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube and Fantasy Alarm Twitter, plus my Facebook, Fantasy Alarm Facebook, Instagram, and you'll have my pick on Grill vs. Grill. Coop, give it a look, man. Give it a look. All right, what say you, Heavy T? We are really running behind.
Yeah,
here,
we'll make it rapid fire real quick. Also, the eulogy is ready.
The eulogy is ready.
And no, Andrew Cooper, I will never pick a Bush brother. F the Bushes. I hate those dudes. I will never pick a Bush.
Kurt, who just retired, is who you would want to pick at a Roval, not Kyle.
Yeah, I'm not picking a Bush. I'll tell you what, is Brad Keselowski still a thing? Pick him. Okay.
Like, yes, he is.
All right,
he's actually in the playoffs.
Okay, perfect.
And he's fighting. He's fighting for his playoff light next.
All right.
If he wins, I swear to God, every team.
Pick Brad Keselowski.
He's not a good road course driver though, so it'd be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, so we have a lot left on the slate here. What do you want to tackle first before we go into the
just
eulogy?
Rapid fire? Let's go.
All right, you ready? Here we go. The Bears blew it in the first half. Why don't I just do Case of the Mondays with you? And
Let's do it. Bears suck. Next, like we go with that. No, for real. It's like, how do you? You're what, up 28-7, and then now everybody thinking, oh, Russ might be a chef again. Oh my God, no. Okay, no. Like the Bears are so. I'm gonna leave it at this. To quote Danny Green, the Bears are who we thought they were.
Whoa!
But they are who we thought they were.
Exactly. They are who we thought they were. They're not good.
But in the first half, he was like, what, 100% passing, 4 touchdowns.
He was playing the Broncos. I'll be 100% passing against Denver. Come on. The Jets play the Broncos next week. Zach Wilson is going to go back to looking like prime Joe Namath. Okay?
Hey, Zach Wilson done something nobody has ever done playing against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Zach Wilson is going to look like Ken O'Brien whenever he played the Dolphins, just unstoppable. Okay, that's it. That's what's going to happen. Jeez, man.
All right, let's do this. Justin Fields had the world in the first half saying he's back. This is good. This is what we wanted. DJ Moore crushed for your fantasy teams unless you did not start him like me and started Zay Flowers instead. But, however, Justin Fields, at the end of the game, you spoiled your own victor. 2 turnovers, a fumble that blew the game, and you lost to the Denver Broncos. Ugh. Guess what, Justin Fields?
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the moon.
Mac Jones. Heavy T.
Jeez.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is not him. They need a replace. And it's going to be really sad because I'm actually very worried that the Belichick era is going to come to an end in New England before he breaks Shula's record. That record needs to be broken in New England because it's going to be weird if some other team hires Belichick. I don't know. Like, oh my God, let's say the Bears do it. Like he breaks the record in a Bears hoodie. Like, no, that's weird. It needs to be broken in New England. Mac Jones has got to go. He is not the dude. He's got to go.
You know who the second leading receiver was for the Patriots yesterday?
I don't know, and I'm concerned.
Deron Bland!
Who is that?
Shout out to Fresno State, the cornerback who picked off 2 of his passes because only Hunter Henry had more receptions than Deron Bland. And to make it worse, he got benched, straight up benched.
Yeah,
for Zappy.
And then Belichick came out and said that there was no reason for him to stay in the game, which I get. They were getting killed. So he said it's not a performance issue. I think it's a performance issue, Bill. Don't lie to me.
Mac Jones and the Patriots are last in the league. 71% of their drives. 71% of the drives for the Patriots have ended in a punt or a turnover.
That's disgusting.
Mac Jones, Bill Belichick.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
All right, this one's going to be fun. I am done with Riverboat Ron Rivera. He is not Riverboat. One time in his life, he gambled on something and got this nickname, Riverboat Ron. He literally had a better chance to win the game by going for 2 and taking him out of the misery than dealing with the whole overtime and what happens in overtime. The percentages are there. but he didn't riverboat anything. He said, well, we'll go against the defending NFC champions into overtime and see what happens. Well, guess what happened? You went 3 and out, and they kicked the field goal with probably the best field goal kicker of the game right now, and lost. How do you feel about riverboat Ron Rivera?
I'm gonna be honest.
Riverboat?
I think I'm in the minority. I was fine with him kicking the extra point right there.
No.
You had all the momentum going into overtime. I was fine with it. I thought it was.
Go for it.
I honestly,
Go for
I would have done it. I was cool with it. I think it was a good move.
McDaniels.
Oh, stop it. We're not doing that. We're not kicking.
Heavy T.
We're not kicking a field
T,
goal with less than 2 minutes down 8.
Heavy T doesn't think so, but I do, and I'm going to say no more riverboat Ron because he never really does. He's very conservative, but I'm going to say this.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of the
And before we get into the
Mondays.
eulogy, we got to say one last case of the Mondays for Joe Burrow. If they would have just put him on the IR, let him heal, he'd be back for next week. He'd be back. His 4 weeks would be over. And if they were 0-4, okay. But they're 1-3 with him. Why don't they let the man heal? They look terrible. T. Higgins is out. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year at this point.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, for the second time this year.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's
Right.
got a case of the
I'm
Mondays.
gonna I'm gonna be honest when it comes to Joe Burrow. I took him in one of the leagues I care about. I took him in either the 5th or the 6th round, and some people might think I'm crazy. I think I'm gonna drop him. I picked up Kirk Cousins as a backup, and besides yesterday, Kirk Cousins has been really good this year. And I'm looking at, I'm like, Joe's just not it this year. And I'm looking at the waiver wire. CJ Stroud is right there on the waiver wire. And I'm like, Kirk Cousins and CJ Stroud as a backup.
Is it crazy that we're thinking about doing that?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, am I insane for saying I think I'm going to drop Joe Burrow? And I think I'm going to drop Joe Burrow, dude. I think I'm going to do it.
Do it, Heavy T.
Oh, man. Also, I remember what I was going to say earlier. I am once again asking for the NFL, please, for the love of God, please flex Bills Giants out of Sunday Night Football. I think it's week 6. I do not want to see that. Get that off my TV.
Done. I think we're done with the New York teams. It's 21-3, and the Giants haven't shown any life. I think they're like they're booing and calling for Tyrod Taylor at this point. Anyways,
that's not a
we have.
good option.
Speaking of no life, we have 2 people we have to wish
yes,
adieu to.
Yes, the eulogy is a good one. This is a good one.
All right. Thank you, guys. The Guillotine League, every week, whoever has the lowest points gets knocked out. We give a eulogy for the teams that got knocked out, and the players go on the waiver wires for everyone else still left. I am still left. Heavy T still left. But who this week is no longer with us in the Guillotine League?
We are gathered here this evening to say goodbye to 2 teams. The teams of West of PCH from last week and Mixing Whiskey in a Cup from this week.
Oh.
First, we look at West of PCH and say farewell to players such as Josh Circle the Wagons Allen, Derek Teen Titan Henry, DeAndre I'm Stuck in Tennessee Hopkins, and Kyle Coach Smith Forgot About Me Pitts, and many, many more. It should be noted that all of these players have found new homes via the waiver wire. Except for Russell Wilson, because everyone is concerned he will cook the bench and set it ablaze.
It's true.
We also say bon voyage to Mixing Whiskey in a Cup and pay our respects. We welcome their players to football purgatory, a.k.a. the waiver wire. Players such as Brock, I Have a Giant Chicken, Purdy, Joe, the Bad Bengal Mixin,
Ooh.
Debo, Ayuk might be better than me, Samuel.
Told y'all.
DK, have it your way, Metcalf. And Cooper, I was a part of this team name but never got to play Cup.
Oh.
May you all be blessed upon your ride to football purgatory. Please remember to keep all hands inside the feet inside the vehicle at all times and exit to your left when the ride has come to a complete stop. Amen.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, shout out to those 2. I know it's Cam Sports and West of PCH. Thank you guys so much for joining the Guillotine League this year. It's been a lot of fun. I'm sorry you guys had to go out so quickly. Well, not quickly. We're in like week 4 or 5 now. So we're 4, right? So it's been crazy. It's insane. So come back next year. Try again. We're going to do it again next year. It's been a lot of fun. I got nothing but good things to say. And all those players I will be bidding on this week. Well, Heavy T, shall we call it a night here?
We shall, and I would like to say that Daniel Jones just threw another interception. So
Woo!
definitely
Bring on
over.
Tyrod Taylor. This is going to be booing here. I'm going to go get back to work and listening to booing for the next 8 minutes in this game. So Seahawks going to win, guys. It's over. From myself, Thomas Stevens, Andrew Cooper, the Coop Dog. And of course, as always, my buddy here, Heavy T. We want to wish you luck and success this next week. I hope you win your fantasy leagues. Good next week. We'll be back with more every Monday night here on the Better Sports Network, at Better Network, at Fantasy Alarm. And again, from all of us here, we like to say one thing and one thing only, a huge, and I mean huge shout out to our boy, Taj McGowan. We'll see you next week, my fellow ranters. Boom.